I'm just thinking, how about a wee bit of pricking out and potting on over your morning coffee? Because I was just watching a new channel, a new Scottish channel on New Grow. I was just watching him seed sown while I had my coffee and thought, what a brilliant way to start your day. Let me just show you what we have and I'll explain things. Back, I think it was the 11th of January, these are the seeds I sowed with you guys. So I've got some lettuce, 2 different types, and I've got basil, spring onions, and my bell peppers. And as you can see, they're doing all right. Now, I took you through then why I used the different trays for sowing the seeds that I did, because it is a personal preference. But now, I get to show you basically the next stage of that and why you have to think about all this kind of stuff, because look at this. Look how full that is. Now, here's the thing. Germination was not brilliant in this, but these little seedlings are now quite big. So, I need to get them pricked out and potted on. And the reason being, little tiny seeds have all of the gorgeousness, all the nutrition and everything that the little seedling needs to a point, okay? Usually it's fine up until the first set of proper true leaves appear. So like that would be their second set of leaves. And then that little plant really starts growing and it needs much more nutrition. So usually at that point you're thinking about potting them up so that they've got more compost, they're in a potting mix and they can get that nutrition. If you leave them too long, you will actually start to see them weaken and they might even die. I should have done this by now. And the same with these, and I'll tell you about these as well. But to be honest, I don't mind admitting it, I'm a woose. I came out to do this and it was just too cold and dark and horrible, so I went back indoors. Because I'm a big woose, and that's life. So, anyone else not able to leave the seeds stuck on the top of onion seed? I can't do it, I can't leave them, I have to fiddle. Anyways, right, so we're going to get this done. This is the lettuce. This is a module tray, so all of these little plants or clumps of plants have their own little individual module cells. But again, you can see the basil are quite big now and they're all multi-sown, so there's a few little basil seeds in each of these little pockets. Same with the spring onions. So obviously that means these guys are going to need some nutrition soon, even earlier than the peppers, because there's lots of little plants fighting for that nutrition. With the peppers, some of them have come up with 2, I think just 2, I haven't oversown, no, just 2 in each little pocket. So again, these will grow soon and start fighting and they'll need nutrition. But you can see here the peppers have got their second set of leaves coming in. It's very easy to see with the peppers. So that's the hint again, it's like, Eli, get your skates on. So this is why we're going to start potting up. Now, you could pot up into little pots that are just a bit bigger than the one that's there, if you have that size. The next ones I have in terms of size are these. I would say at the minute, this is a bit too much of a jump to go from this sort of size up, okay? But I've got more module trays that are slightly bigger. Give me a second. Now what I'm doing, yes, okay, I'm taking off any cobwebs and stuff, but I'm also checking for slugs and snails, because in a greenhouse you'll always get things like slugs and snails, and module trays are a fantastic place for them to hide, and you don't want that. So, now, you'll see these are all busted and banged up. The reason for that is these actually come in full sizes like this, but it was just a bit much for what I was doing, so Kate and I actually cut a bunch of them up to make them smaller, and it worked better for me. This, you can see, is quite a jump, okay? It's not ideal to jump from this size to this size, but my only other option I've got is to go super tiny, which will only last me a couple of weeks, or up to this, which is a good bit bigger than that again, okay? And this is one of those things. We can be here on YouTube telling you that it's the right way to do this and you must do that. You need to work with what you've got, guys. It makes no sense to go out and buy loads and loads of expensive equipment if you're new and you're just testing things out. And maybe you're not sure this is for you yet. So yeah, so work with what you've got and just record the results, because that's the awesome thing. It's all learning. As long as you record your results, record what you did, think about things, reflect on what happened, and the next year you change up based on that. It's the best way to learn. Right, I need to quickly add some vermiculite and make my mix up because I haven't done it yet. Now, speaking of On You Grow, in the video I was watching this morning, if you watched it, or maybe you'll go watch it later on, how cool are the stickers on his seed box? I was most impressed. Very cool. Quite jealous, actually. I might have to make some stickers to compete. So, as you guys know, this is sterilised compost that I have sieved. Because, well, one, if you're seed sowing and you're making seed mix, it's awesome to go to the effort to sterilise your compost, because that way you'll kill any nasties that could damage your little tiny seedlings. If you're bringing these on indoors in a grow station, it's extra awesome because it gives you a chance to kill off any fungus gnats or fungus gnat eggs and things like that that are in there. Right, here we go. What will I do first? This is the problem. I'm stuck behind this. I can't reach things, and I need to make it so that you can see. See, people think YouTube life is all glamour and fast cars and posh yachts and things. It's so not. Most of YouTube life is crawling under stuff off camera so people can't see how bad it is. Right, okay, I'm going to start with one of these guys. I'm going to do my little lettuce first because they desperately need it, and it's going to involve something that's a bit different from these. So, let's fill these up. Do, do, do. This is where we need the elevator music. It's like la la la, do 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 do. Or we could go full on Blue Peter and I could do the here's one I did earlier. Yes, I was a Blue Peter child. And as an adult, I still dream one day of getting that Blue Peter badge that I never ever earned as a kid. But I don't think there's anything you can do as an adult to earn them, which is fair enough. Right, I'm going to show you something. Again, more things you don't need, but I have. This is called a widger. How do I know it's got a stupid name like widger? Because Mark at Mark's Allotment told me that's what it's called, so I believe him. But it's basically a thing to prick seedlings out. So that's the difference. When they're in a wee tray like this versus in lots of individual modules like that, you have to actually dig them out of here. And you want to do it as carefully as you can because you don't want to damage the little root systems. Now, you don't need one of these. I'm going to show you something even funnier. This is Kate's. Pammy from the Garden of Whedon sent Kate a pile of these little spades and forks and things, and Kate uses these when she's doing it because it's her garden fork or her garden spade. I suppose they work fine actually. Teaspoon, pencil, whatever. It's just a way of getting in here and not letting things get damaged. So this is my oak leaf, and the germination on the oak leaf was a bit rubbish, to be honest. We didn't get even close, but I want you to see something. Look at the amount of roots in here, and I had to really dig that because those roots are all round there, which is why I should have done this earlier. Those roots are all over there now, desperately looking for nutrition, so I'm disturbing them, which is not ideal. It's not the end of the world, but you know, I'd rather do it less. Right, there's one, that easy. Okay, so you dig it out. Now it gets a bit harder when you're in a bunch like this. So what we're doing is we're going underneath the plants, and we're just letting the plant move. Oh, this is a brilliant one to show you. Right, okay, hang on. Because, what did I just say? Look. It's all joined up as a clump. So, this is good because I get to do this and you see it on camera, so you won't worry. If I do this, it'll naturally break. Okay, now again, I'll do the same thing. Don't pull, let it do it itself. It will naturally go where there's more than one plant. This one's a bit trickier because they're so close, but it'll do it. There you go. So you're never actually tearing the plants apart. You're kind of, in this situation, you're just letting the natural fold happen and it'll do it. And I'm going to show you with the peppers another way to do that. Into the soil. Right, little guys, you grow on in there, lots more nutrition for you. And these guys need a good water as well. Okay, one more. Oh, that's annoying. It would have been nice to have one here, because then I'm doing this because it gives them all lots of space. But yeah. And then what I'm going to do, give it a good water, and that's the oak leaves done, okay? I didn't put out a tray for them, did I? Oh well, it's going to get messy. There are more of the next one. These are my romaine that are meant to be multicoloured. There's not a lot of the multicolour going on, but so I've got more, so I'm going to go with the bigger one. Okay, now, I don't know if it's occurred to you, but just with the shape of the lettuce, it's more obvious with this one. But what you'll see is it's something we call a head of lettuce, okay? And that's to do with the shape of it, how it grows. So you'll get two types of lettuce. Well, two things you'll probably hear about: cut and come again, which is when it's just lots of standing up little leaves and you go and you chop them at that stage, or heads of lettuce, which is when you're growing a big actual grouping of leaves and you take the whole thing. Okay, that's what these are. These are heads of lettuce. But the oak leaf is much rounder. The romaine is much more upright. Okay, so it's a different growing habit. It's still something you harvest as the entire plant with lots of leaves, rather than just chopping individual leaves multiple times. But they have slightly different growing habits. Now this one has a lot more plants in it, so I'm going to have to do the same thing again. It's good when this happens because you guys get to see me doing stuff that you probably worry that is not the way you should be doing. It's not correct, and it's like, this is gardening, this is life. Look, they just come apart because you can see where the little plants are. Stop making a mess. And the other thing is, because I've got so many of these plants in that tray, obviously the ones that grew first are much bigger and I've taken all the nutrition. And then we've got all these really little ones that are all kind of bunched up at the sides. Much smaller, but just you wait and see. These will catch up. Oh boy, will these catch up. So that one. Now, what I'm doing here that I didn't do before, you can see, is I'm actually sewing them together like this, not leaving the spaces like I did with those ones. Again, it's because of their growing habit. These guys will grow much more upright, whereas they will grow more out, more wide. So they need a bit more space in the trays. I've just gone totally randomly out of order here, but hey ho. There we go. And I've got space that if I want I can put other smaller plants in or whatever. Right, okay, so that's lettuce. Let's switch it over. Rawr! Put that to the side. Okay. Oh, there's no room to move in here. Way different now. It's going to be much faster doing these ones. But, of course, I need more potting mix. Let's do the basil. Now, I have grown the basil in clumps. I said that to you guys before when I was sowing them. I will actually keep them in tiny little clumps like that and basically just keep potting them on in those clumps, grow them in those clumps. It's one of those things, when I'm growing basil, I tend to grow little bunches of basil in a big pot. I never grow them as separate plants, really. Now, I mentioned how things were totally different when you use a module tray. Watch this. One done. Now, do you see that? They're all individual little plugs of plants with all their little roots. So it's just much faster and easier to move that plant on. There's no pricking out involved. So these are just little things you can think about when you're choosing how to grow your plants. Now, the only downside is if your little plug, the soil in your little plug is super dry, or if the plant hasn't developed enough and it doesn't have a big enough root system, then the little plugs can actually crumble and fall apart as you're handling them. But you guys know how to handle baby plants now, how to handle seedlings. So if that happens, it's inconvenient, but it's not the end of the world. Look, random spring onion in there. Remember I said about you always end up dropping seeds in the wrong place? There you go, guys. I do it too. Now you'll see I've got some very small ones in here. I'm not going to pull them out. I'm just going to go with the really big plants that are well on. So there we go. Basil. Oh, we're filling up in here. Spring onions. Spring onions are very upright. I'm actually going to put them in the spare cells that I've already got for these trays. And again, I'm keeping them in their little plugs. So again, I can push them out. And there we go. With spring onions, because I'm not trying to grow these as bulbs, I'm not wanting them to get big, I just keep them as these little clumps and it works perfect. Now what I'm going to do, that rogue spring onion, let's plant it in here with its buddies. There we go. So even though that one was sown in a little bunch with all the others, only one germinated. Boo! Oh, look at that, the perfect amount. Ta-da! Right, so there we go, lettuce and spring onion and basil. That just leaves my peppers, my pepper babies. Oh, 3 types of peppers in here. I've got 2 rows of my King of the North, which are my favourite red bell peppers. I've got 1 row of Orange Horizon, orange bell pepper, and 1 row of Cal Golden Wonder, which is a yellow bell pepper. So all the same varieties I grew last year. Oh, I'm going to need more potting mix. So let's start with my King of the North. Now, it's very easy. The ones that only have 1 plant, I can lift out and just get them in their own little space. Ta-da! Some of these have got 2 plants in them. So let me show you this. I mentioned before there's different ways to separate your plants. Now, I have shown you this before. I could just do that and break the plant apart like I did with the lettuce. But what I can also do is if I put it on the floor or on the surface and I take these baby leaves, so the bigger leaves, not the new true leaves, the big baby leaves, and if I just take them and shake a little and let gravity do the work, you'll see they will come apart naturally. I don't have to pull, they just come apart themselves. There we go, 1, 2. Got really good germination on these this year. Now, somebody did ask if I had a plan of how many seeds I sowed based on the germination I'm expecting. To be honest, no. I know roughly how many pepper plants I'm going to want at the end. So King of the North, I'm probably going to want 4 of these guys, actually proper grown plants in my greenhouse to get my peppers. But I will always give myself maybe 3 spares just in case, because seedlings look great just now, but anything could happen. Okay, I'm going to have to make up potting mix before I can do the rest, but there we go. Some very quick, shall we say down and dirty, potting on with your morning coffee with Eli in the greenhouse. Next lot, February is going to be fun, guys. I've got a lot of seeds I start growing in February, because February is when it gets interesting. So I'll see you for that seed sowing very soon. You still here? Every video I do it, pick a video, off you go, heaps more to watch. See ya!